Scuderia Ferrari has won 2 of the 8 Formula One races that were held until now in the 2024 Formula One Championship. The Maranello team managed to bring Charles Leclerc to victory in his home race in Monaco on his third serious attempt starting from pole position, breaking a curse that seemed to have plagued the Monegasque forever. Fairytale narratives aside, it is now inevitable to place Ferrari in the midst of the fight for the Formula One world title. Alongside McLaren and Red Bull, the updated SF-24 single-seater is clearly at the front and can compete for pole positions and victories in the upcoming races, at least until the update scheduled around Silverstone, with team principal Frederic Vasseur stating that the next major aerodynamic development will arrive around the historic and fascinating British Grand Prix next month. At the same time, Red Bull no longer seems as unbeatable, and the RB20 car is having several problems on tracks where being able to attack the curb is an important factor. Only Max Verstappen's talent is keeping the car's performance afloat, as believing in Sergio Perez objectively takes a lot of courage. Consistently with the arrival of the European part of the season, the Mexican driver has been melting like snow in the sun, at least in recent years. Regarding the current season, here are some key numbers. Ferrari is second in the Constructors' Championship after the first third of the campaign, only 24 points behind Red Bull, while Charles Leclerc, who has consistently finished in the top 4 in every race, is chasing Max Verstappen in the drivers' standings with a 31-point deficit. So, for a 2023 that was supposed to be a carbon copy of 2022, we are quite competitive. As we repeatedly said just before the start of the 2024 Formula One season, the Italian side is capable of competing for at least the Constructors' Championship, as Sergio Perez's inconsistency, severely tested after the Mexican's early successes behind his teammate, has reappeared. Once again, the Mexican seems to be in a vortex from which he will hardly escape. We must not forget McLaren, probably a tad more competitive than Ferrari in pure performance terms today. However, the characteristics of various tracks will potentially tell different stories. Despite Charles Leclerc stating before Monaco that it is still too early to make assessments about a three-way fight at the front, the feeling is that the leading group is very compact, which means that even the small details can make a huge difference in the fight between Scuderia Ferrari, Red Bull, and McLaren. For now, the topic of the Formula World Championship is taboo at Ferrari. In Maranello, technicians and engineers don't want to talk about the title. At least that's the will of team principal Frederic Vasseur. Naturally, diverting attention to something not considered could mean overstepping, which can be rather counterproductive because nowadays making a misstep would mean losing a lot of ground to Red Bull and McLaren given the similar performance of the cars. However, it is inevitable that this topic needs to be addressed. Given the numbers mentioned earlier, the Maranello team has everything it takes to sit at the big table, and indeed it is already there and quite comfortably. Charles Leclerc has been remarkably consistent this year. Even with only one win, he either finishes on the podium or in 4th place, as seen in specific circumstances like in the Bahrain Grand Prix or the Chinese Grand Prix. The Monegasque driver probably does not have the best Ferrari car he has ever driven because the first version of the 2022 F175 was really championship-worthy, at least until the summer, performance-wise, though power unit reliability was another story, and some questionable strategy decisions from the Maranello pit wall also prevented Charles Leclerc from securing more race wins in that period. However, the updated version of the SF-24, while not yet the most powerful car of his career, is perhaps the most efficient and consistent. The only thing to safeguard is reliability, as these multiple power unit changes before Imola and Monaco should not be underestimated. It may not be so noticeable because of the staggering rise of McLaren, for example, but Charles Leclerc is making the most of every race, and that makes him very much in the running for the world title. In fact, he is currently Max Verstappen's closest rival. The Monegasque's victory last weekend at the Circuit de Monaco was his first since the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix, whilst Verstappen's finishing position in Monaco was his worst result since the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix. Ferrari is therefore building a winning team that by 2025 must deliver to Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton a car capable of winning races and constantly fighting for the Formula One championship title. It is a process that takes time, but perhaps in Maranello, they are accelerating the pace. The 4.361-kilometer circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, where Red Bull could once again encounter some difficulties, must be painted red by the 2 Ferrari drivers, and then the championship could restart at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, one way or another. Now let's also address a recent news reported by the Italian and international media regarding Ferrari's market plans in terms of staff and key technicians. It seems that Enrico Cardile is in Aston Martin's sights. The rumor comes as a surprise, but the news aligns well with the British team's goals, which has long been engaged in a program to strengthen its technical staff. The current head of Ferrari's chassis and aerodynamics departments is a figure who has progressively emerged since 2016, when he began his journey in Maranello's sports management after an experience in the Gran Turismo program. In 9 years, Italian aerodynamicist Enrico Cardile has climbed many positions within the Ferrari racing department, reaching his current role at the top of the technical pyramid. His work has drawn the attention of rival teams, and the solid performance of the SF-24 Formula One project has credited him as one of the leading technical directors in the F1 landscape. This is where Aston Martin's interest comes into play, as it can offer an enticing technical director role within a rapidly rising context, thanks to the investments made by Lawrence Stroll in recent years to enhance the Silverstone structure. In this scenario, the Adrian Newey situation could also fit. Rumors about the possible arrival at Maranello of the former Red Bull technical director might push Enrico Cardile, who has been with Ferrari for 19 years, to find opportunities elsewhere, aware that his status in Ferrari would not be the same. In recent weeks, it has emerged that Adrian Newey is only considering a role as a super consultant for his next team, as in fact has been the case in recent years even at Red Bull. But the presence of the genius car designer in the technical hierarchy of a team would inevitably overshadow other figures. For now, these are hypotheses, but they fit into a larger puzzle where the various same pieces come together sensibly. Finally, it's also worth pointing out that Simone Resta has officially concluded his time at Ferrari, following 23 years with the Italian squad. He will become Mercedes' strategic development director, but it is not yet confirmed when next year he will join the team. That move was announced in March after Simone Resta left Haas at the start of 2024, having started at the American outfit in 2021 to help strengthen the technical partnership between the team and Ferrari, which provides it with power unit and various other parts. At Mercedes, Simone Resta will be reunited with James Allison, the Brackley squad's technical director, whom he worked with at Ferrari between 2013 to 2016. The 53-year-old became the team's chief designer in 2014. Simone Resta initially left Scuderia Ferrari back in 2018 in order to join Alfa Romeo Sauber as technical director. However, he returned to the Maranello team just over a year later, in August 2019. He began his career in Formula One in the late 1990s with Italian Minno's Minardi. He worked in research and development for the team from 1998. Upon moving to Ferrari more than 2 decades ago, Simone Resta took the role of senior design engineer. In 2006, he assumed the position of head of research and development before becoming deputy chief design director in 2012.